What's the first thing you should do in planning your destination wedding? Hold on, we'll talk about it after this. Hi, I'm Jack with Vacationese. Do me a favor and subscribe. People were always asking me, hey Jack, what's the first thing and one of the most important things you think I should do in planning my destination wedding? Okay, there's a lot of stuff you should do, but I think the first thing you need to do is make your guest list. I've done a video on this of how to estimate how many people are coming, but let me go a little bit further. Why do I think making your guest list is the most important thing? So here's what I suggest. Take everybody you're going to invite and stick it in Excel. Put that whole list in Excel, everybody you're thinking about. Now I think what you need to do is look at these people, and you can make various columns on this. The first column you may put is where are they coming from? So just maybe the airport of the city they may fly from. You ask why? Because let's say you're from Boston and everybody's from Boston, but you're dreaming about a wedding in Cabo. I have a feeling it's probably not a great idea to have a wedding in Cabo because it is so hard to get from one place to the other. The same thing if you're from New York and you want to have a wedding in, say, Hawaii. So I think it's the same thing. First column, put in that column where everybody's flying from, because that'll help you decide on a potential destination, or it'll help you kind of limit that and work with your travel planner for that. The next column you want to do is think about, when you look at all these people, what you perceive they can afford in terms of a budget for a 4 or 5 night stay. Now mostly we're seeing stays for 2023, and my perception is for 24 is going to be about $800 to $1,500 per person for a 4-night stay based upon 2 people in a room for a very nice all-inclusive resort in Mexico or someplace in the Caribbean. So those prices are good. But the one thing is, every now and then we get brides and grooms that have these idea of what I call Ritz-Carlton quality. I mean, really 6-star amazing resorts. But as we talk more, they figure out that, look, I don't know if my guests can really afford $1,800 or $2,000, so we may have to scale it back. But I think if you look at who your guests are, you may know, I mean, look, I would say never look into someone else's wallet or pocketbook, but I think it's a good idea to judge if we think that they're in that mid-range of that $8 to $12, $1,300, or you may have guests that say, hey, $500 or $600 is the most they can afford. I think you have to rethink it at that point in terms of seasonality as well as the quality of resort. So I look at what you perceive these people can afford, and that's the budget, the B word. Now the next thing, I would go back in that list and look at the vibe that you think is correct for these people. As an example, let's say you're doing a resort that's adults only. Well, is this a party group? Is it a chill group? Is it an active group? Because every resort is a little bit different, and you really need to think about that. I tell the story that recently we had a client that wanted to host an adults only resort, and we had everything booked at a resort, a brand called Breathless, which is a little bit risque. The mom and the bride went to Breathless to make their final selections. This is when everybody's finally booked. And then I got a call from the mom and the bride from the resort getting screamed at by the mom of how could I allow her daughter to choose this resort. And I said, why? It's an amazing resort. And she said, well, it's a little bit risque. We are church-going people. We're going to have our pastor come, and I don't think this is appropriate. Well, the bride thought it was appropriate. A lot of the guests were excited about it, but the mom didn't. So I think it's really important up front that you identify who the people are, what the vibe you're looking for. If you're having kids, is it more teen-oriented or is it more children-oriented? So it's good in that column to kind of make a note on that, because there are certain family-friendly resorts that are great for teens. There are other ones that are great for little kids. But if you have a good mix, then we have to find something in the middle. Now I would go back and put another column and really identify anybody that has special needs. And that's becoming more important. Is it a disability? Is it a food allergy? Because we need to make sure that if you have some folks in wheelchairs and we're picking a resort, that we don't pick one that's all hilly and steppy that they're never going to get around. Or that when we look at a wedding location, it's not on a rooftop that doesn't have an elevator that gets there. So again, knowing more about your guests, while it is your destination wedding, it's very important that we identify who you're inviting, who you think is going to come, and identifying what we think the appropriate resorts are for them so that everybody can have an amazing experience. So the question is, hey Jack, what is the most important thing I can do first? To me, it is build your guest list and identify those people and try to understand what it is that when you're working with your travel planner, you try to match the perfect resort for your guests. The key for me, I always tell brides and grooms, is look, this is very important about you. It's all about you for the ceremony and the events. But we are having all these people come that love you and care about you and want to hang out with you. We really need to do a great job of picking an amazing resort that meets the needs of anybody that's coming, that blows away their expectation, so they come back and they thank you about inviting them to your wedding and forcing them to go at this resort, and it's a resort they want to go back to that they had never heard of or whatever it is. But I think the more finite information you can get about your guests when you work with your travel planner, the better your travel planner you work with will be in helping you pick the perfect resort to host your destination. Bottom line is, spend time on your guest list, do your homework, and then that'll really help you up front. Thanks again for watching the videos, and this is Jack with Vacation Ease.